And now we can duplicate them. Make sure again we don't have big gaps between them. And it looks like yeah, those are sticking out a little bit. So let's select all those, just nudge them a little bit to the right. And I see, yeah, we got a problem. Select all those, delete them, and leave only the two that we've created first. Deleting those because we need to bevel the stones, so we have a nice specular highlight on the edge. So select all of the edges on the stone and go to Edit Mesh, Bevel option box. Let's put the width to 0.25 and the segments to 2, and hit Apply, and do the same thing with the smaller stone. It's good to make those because anyway we're creating a high poly object, it's good to bevel it also. And now we can start doing the same procedure of duplicating the stones. The same as last time. Now we can take the first and the second big ones, bring them one row down and just nudge them to the to a position. Now select all the bigger ones. We can group them, center the pivot, and now duplicate away. Make sure again don't have gaps. Select both of those groups, duplicate them so we create the stones a little bit faster. So just checking with how much we need to duplicate. Selecting 4 of those groups, duplicating, and selecting this last one. I think that's pretty much does it. And we can create one more just to be safe. So now that we've created all of those, let's select all of the stones, including the smaller ones. Group them, center the pivot, and duplicate them, so I can duplicate them across to the other side of the wall. And now we can scale down on the x-axis by -1, and this will flip the stones. So now we have a mirror image, mirror copy of the stones. So that was fast duplication, and now we have both of the walls covered. So now we need to create also the sides of the walls that are near the case. So select this nth row of stones, duplicate them, group them again, center the pivot. This time we need to rotate them -90 degrees on the y-axis, and now we scale them by -1 on the x. Just flip them, put them right next to the corner, and now we can duplicate the bigger ones. So select both of those, duplicate them, one more time, bring them down one row. Make sure there are no big gaps between them, and that seems fine. Now we can select all of those, group them again, center the pivot, and duplicate it across. And again we need to scale them down, so I can reverse mirror the geometry. So scale them down, this time on the z-axis by again -1. This will flip the whole geometry. You can see now we have the wall covered up with the high polygon stones. Now we can start preparing the ground geometry for UV ink. This will mean cutting and bringing down the size of the geometry. So let's start first with the plane. So we don't need that much big of a plane, so just scale it down by the edges, and just I'm holding V and just snapping it to the bigger pieces. I'm selecting those 3 platforms that form the first platform, just selecting them. So now just selecting all of the unneeded faces. Those faces are not seen at all, so we don't need them, so I can delete them. It's always good to delete faces that won't be seen at all. After that's done, we can select the Insert Edge tool and also turn on the relative distance from edge and turn off multiple edges, so we can create only one edge. And let's create and snap those edges. So now I can combine all of those 3 geometries, hit combine, and now we can merge the vertices of those geometries. So hit merge and then G to repeat the action. Now go to Edit Mesh, Append Polygon tool to fill in the holes that form the side walls of the staircase. Now that that's finished, we have one object and much smaller poly count. So let's do the same with the back one. First just scale, transforming the edges just to snap to the first platform, deleting those unused edges. Also bring this edge a little bit to the next to the building. Now we can delete those faces, all of the faces except the front one on the building. So the side and the back faces, the top and the bottom ones, because we're only going to see the front one, so there is no point of selecting all the faces. Also, I'm bringing the first platform edge, the back edge, right next to the second platform wall. And that pretty much finishes all of the terrain geometry. Now I can just delete the back and bottom faces of the staircase, because again those won't be seen at all, just a waste to geometry and processing power. Do the same for the first staircase. Select the back and the bottom edges, faces, and delete them. Now I have much cleaner geometry on the terrain and the staircases. So we can do the same with the buildings. So on the foreground building, the left one, select the back and the side faces that won't be seen at all, and again the bottom, and let's leave the top just for a caution there if we ever need it. That's okay. So again, select the right middle ground building, and again we can delete the back faces. Select all of them, and let's delete. Make sure that we don't select any edge that we don't need, that we need, and delete it by accident. Now I'm selecting the bottom edges, deleting those also, and again those at the top. that are beneath the roof won't be seen at all, so we can delete them also.